This is Strategist, episode 1859. My name is Zain Velji. With me, as always, Stephen Carter. Oh, never mind. He's here. Corey
Here he is.
Oh, my God. And he's got...
Nice to see you.
What are you drinking? Are you drinking something red?
Fanta. Yeah, I'm drinking
You
red.
fucking...
Yeah, that's what's happened here.
Just a shill.
So
Just a
deep
shill.
into it.
I'm
So...
living that candidate life.
Yeah, no, I think we all do. Why is this... This is situation. This could have been planned.
This is nice. Thanks, guys.
Fine.
Thanks for the support.
Carter, we left off with what I thought was going to be the last time we hear from you, Corey. But we were actually here for the Stephen Carter accountability episode. That's what this is.
I'm not missing the Stephen Carter accountability episode.
So just so people know, Stephen Carter was on a campaign, and that campaign did not win. So we're going to talk to Stephen about that. I don't know. Would you phrase it that way, Carter?
Oh, no, we got our asses handed to us.
Okay.
Okay.
We came in 6th and 7th, but there were only really 3 candidates. So we got fucked up. We got fucked up.
All that time with the crowd molding in Vancouver.
For what?
For what?
For
what?
nothing.
Corey, you have an announcement to make.
I do have an announcement to make.
I'll try to let you get
Hold
through
on.
this.
Are we going to interrupt him? Yeah.
No, I'll try.
Listen.
But he's gonna slip up at some
Zain.
point. Okay.
Zain,
Yeah.
I love you to death. You're like a brother or a son who I'm stuck with. But you have this special gift where you maybe sometimes undercut my serious pleas, my serious calls with some not serious. So I'm going to have to ask you to get on side with this one. What do you say?
No.
Definitely no. But okay.
Yeah, no, it's...
Definitely no. But good try.
All right.
Keep going.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
You should have just gone for it rather than tell me what you're going to tell me. You should have just done it rather than spent the time. Now I'm definitely going to interrupt you.
Okay.
And I'm bringing
That's
Carter.
my bad.
And I'm bringing Carter on side too now.
That's my bad.
Okay, yeah,
That's a mistake. That was a mistake. That's on me. I'm going to own that.
Yeah,
one.
as a candidate, you should.
You know what? The buck stops here. This is what I'm all about these days. I am, of course, running for the Liberals in Calgary Confederation. It's called a battleground by, I believe, Stephen Carter in the Hill Times. Thanks for that, bud. That was
I
nice
know,
of
it was
you.
good, hey?
That's really good.
I didn't even know who I was. I thought I was actually talking about Lindsay Luna.
Oh,
I
you
got
screwed
confused.
up then. But it's close, right? We all know it's close. It's close riding, winnable riding. But I'm starting a week late. And so we got to do like 3 months of campaigning in a day. And that's what we're going to try to do Saturday. We're going to try to paint Confed red. Huh? Yeah? No? Not getting a lot of reaction
Oh,
from the
really good.
from the
Paint
Doja
Confed
from the
red.
Doja
That's
Cat
weird.
song from the Doja Cat song. It's gonna really work with all the white people in Confed. But keep
Yeah,
going.
no,
Yeah,
it's
that's
really gonna
fine.
be good.
That's good. They're gonna get the red.
Paint Confed red.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to paint Confed red.
Yeah.
.ca. I'm going to get that. I hope it's not
Oh,
taken. or else
you
I'll
are
have
not
trouble.
gonna get that. You think I can't buy domain names myself?
I guarantee you I can do it faster than you. I've got a little
That's
experience
the,
at this.
hold on. That's the
I
domain
am
you're going to go with?
pre-logged in
Okay.
to domain name purchasing. You think you're
All
gonna
right.
get? You know what? Jump ball.
This is not going my way so far.
Jump ball
All
for
right.
the
Something's better
audience.
than paint
Jump ball.
Confed red.
Let the audience. Neither of us take it. We
Okay.
make a tree. Okay, keep going. Yes.
We are going to door knock the whole riding in one day. It'll take about 500 volunteer shifts, about 250 in the morning, 250 in the afternoon. They'll be staggered throughout. We can do this. And you, dear listeners, if you do one thing for me on this campaign, do this thing. Come out to this particular thing. If you're in Edmonton, come down from Edmonton. If you're in Lethbridge, come up from Lethbridge. If you're in BC, why? Alberta is just so great. You should live here.
You
This
should
is a
live
better
here,
place.
yeah. Lower taxes.
Come here and help out on this campaign for that one day. And if you do, you may be treated to an episode of a show legally distinct from The Strategist called The Candidate with special guest stars Zain Velji and Stephen Carter. Yeah.
Is this
I
what
guess
I've
that
signed up
gets us
for?
around the whole
Is
having
this
to
what I
charge
said
thing.
yes to?
Yeah.
Yeah, you agreed to come out on Saturday. You didn't we didn't do the details. It's okay.
My
It's
appearance
fine.
fee is $5,000. By the way, Paint Confed Red is already taken. Is this taken by you or your campaign? Is this how good your campaign is or is not?
You know what? You say jump ball, I jump, bud. That's how this goes.
Oh, my God.
Carter,
But it has to be something better than paint Confed red. Right?
Now,
Like,
Carter, I'm begrudgingly attending this event. As you know, this is not my party. I am, of course, a big fan of the Calgary Party. as Corey runs for MPP.
Oh.
As Corey's
Thank
running
you,
for
that's-
alderman. I believe as Corey's running for alderman, my party is the Calgary Party. But I'm doing this
okay.
because it's Corey. Carter, what's your reason?
What am I doing this for?
Yeah.
My wife's the campaign manager. I
Okay,
had no
well,
choice.
there.
Yeah, I
that's
was
also
told
news
that I
to
was
me.
going to be there, and I was like, okay,
That's how MIA I have been.
Yeah, thanks for being there, bud. It's been
Yeah.
a busy week, and you've just been right somewhere.
Corey called me, and I was
we
at a
got-
squash tournament. So I was doing.
You were at a squash tournament, and I believe you said, and I quote,
I'll call you back.
"I'll call you right back."
Yeah, no, I had no intention to do that. We can talk here.
Okay, that's great.
I'm finding out so much about the
Oh, okay.
campaign. Okay.
Yeah, you're learning a lot. Paint Confederate. That's what you're going to do on Saturday.
Corey, usually, if this was normal me, I would undercut you
Yeah.
and criticize you for trying to politically poison the well of what has been a nonpartisan venture the entire time. This podcast.
It's true. It's
But here we are.
absolute truth.
Here, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
do that. I wouldn't do that. Because
appreciate
no,
that.
because I think you need the help. Carter, and you want to say anything nice?
Oh, okay.
You say anything nice about
Do
Corey?
I want to say anything? I mean, it's.
I thought I should be
reeks of
honest. He
desperation.
needs the help.
The-
He
I
needs
think
the help.
reeks of desperation that we're doing a live show. Like, it's
I'm
just-
actually looking
it's-
forward to the live show. Now, one thing I do not know, Corey, when you say it's called, are you actually going to be on stage with Carter and I? Because we prefer you not. Just to be honest with
I
you.
mean, I was going to be, but
Were you really?
maybe it can be like, we'll see.
Can we
We'll
both
play with the
ask you
format.
questions?
I guess so.
Yeah, because
That could
if
be a
it's
thing.
going to be the candidate with Stephen Carter and Zain Velji, see what I did there? I put my
Oh.
name first.
Yeah.
If it's going to be the candidate with Stephen Carter and Zain Velji, I think that we get to ask you questions instead of you and I being asked questions by
In fact,
Zain.
Carter, I actually love
Yeah.
that idea so much. I want to do that right now as a bit of batting practice. Let's call
great.
let's call it Constituent Corner. We'll do it for
Great.
5 minutes.
You both-
We're
you're
both
both
constituents, and
constituents.
he is a candidate.
Yeah. Yep.
Carter,
that's true.
what's your issue that you? Let's just imagine Corey's knocked on your door. Right there, he is, right there.
Okay.
He's knocked on
Yeah.
your door. Corey, can you knock? Just like do
Yeah.
like your standard
Add the
pitch.
knock sound effect,
Okay, so-
please.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Knock sound effect will be added.
Okay, knock sound effect.
Carter, you are a middle-aged, older side white man living in Calgary Confederation. Corey's knocked on your door. You've got a burning issue. I'll let you take away, Chance.
Okay. So I say, hi, I'm Corey Hogan. I'm your Liberal candidate in Calgary Confederation. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, and I'm glad you're here.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm going around. I'm introducing myself. Want to talk about your issues.
Here's my
et
issue.
cetera. Okay.
When is the street cleaning going to start, and why does it seem to start later every year?
Oh, you're
We haven't had snow.
I hate you so much.
Why are you laughing
We
at
haven't
a
had snow.
constituent? Don't
We haven't had
laugh.
snow for weeks.
This is an older man who can
Okay.
barely see.
Yeah.
And-
Okay.
When's the street cleaning going to start?
It can be really frustrating. That's a municipal issue, but
Listen, are you going to run to represent me, or are you not going to run to represent me?
I hate you so much. Definitely represent you. I'm happy to help you with the city.
Can you-
They got this great app, 311. We can.
Can you
reach
call it
out
with
there.
me, and we'll find out when they're going to start street cleaning?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh no. Yeah. Why not? Let's do it.
Okay, now let's try it again. Let's try it with Zain.
Okay, we go.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. Gonna knock on your door. Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, Corey Hogan, Liberal candidate, etc., etc.
Hey, I'm just
What's your top
listen.
issue?
I'm with my kids right now. Listen, which party are we with? Sure. I'll give you 2 seconds. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Liberal Party.
Okay. Yeah. And how would
Carney's Liberal Party.
Okay. Who?
So Mark Carney, he was the former governor of Bank of Canada. Governor. Of
Oh
Bank of
yeah. No, I heard about that guy. Listen, I love what Trudeau did with the kids thing. The child kids things. I have kids. Which reminds me. The fluoride in the water. Does it actually? Does it cause brain cancer? Because I've heard that if you combine the fluoride with the 5G, it's not good. It's not good. So, what are you going to do about the fluoride? What are you going to do about the 5G? I'm just I'm kind of concerned, and I don't have a lot of time. So, that's probably my issue.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, listen, I think you're okay with fluoride. Fluoride's kind of a natural thing. It's in a lot of water sources, just not in Calgary's naturally. It's good for your teeth. Not really a federal issue, but happy to generally support good science and good health.
We should do this weekly.
No, shit, this is good.
Yeah,
This is
great.
Good. You know, we're going to do it on stage. This we're going to do it on stage. This is a preview of the candidate.
Oh, good. You're really selling the live show. This is really good.
No, well, Carter and I will bring costumes. We'll wear hats. We'll play
That's
different.
wonderful.
We'll play a selection of different
Different
characters.
characters.
That's good.
Okay.
I just played, and I'll just get out of method acting mode. That was me playing Brown Dad who looked reasonable, but was actually spending a lot of time on Reddit. That was my character. Carter, who was the character you were playing?
A guy named Stephen Carter.
Okay, that's
This is
good.
me.
That's good.
Yeah, no, it was good.
You're like the Kieran Culkin. Just ride that fucking thing to an Oscar, Carter. Okay,
Exactly,
good.
baby.
Yep.
Carter, we're here for you. We are here. We should be
for you,
talking
Carter.
federal politics, but
That's
who
why I'm
cares?
here.
Well, I know you're here for federal politics. I understood that, but you are here also to see Carter. What the fuck happened, bud?
Well,
Let's start there.
I'm 0 for 4 in British Columbia.
Okay.
Are you going to give up on the place
it's
soon?
starting to. Oh no, no! I'm doubling down. I got to go back. I got to figure this out. This one was not mine to win, though. This one, I don't care who did the campaign. It was not going to be successful.
Well, tell us the
So-
context. Tell us what was going on. I think we briefly alluded to it in previous episodes, but tell us what was at stake, why there was a by-election, why you decided, just if you're open to it, working with this group, and then some of the dynamics, and then lessons learned and shit. We like to document this stuff.
Well, I'll start kind of, in the middle. I worked with this group because they paid me. I found that to be
Stephen.
that was very influential.
I don't know
in
if
my
you're going to be working
decision-making.
with this group again.
Oh my God.
No, and they're my kind of people.
The kind
Okay,
that
good
pay.
cleanup
The
there.
kind that pay.
The kind that pay every
Checks clear.
month. And so I worked with them, and they're really great people. I really did enjoy working with them, but they are 2.5 years into a mandate, and they're not super popular. And this was a by-election where they were replacing 2 of the left-leaning councillors who had stepped down to, one retired completely, and the other one became an MLA. So this by-election was, to replace 2 left-leaning councillors. We thought that ABC Vancouver was
Which is the group you were
fairly
working
popular.
Yep.
Yeah, and we were wrong. They were not. And we did a lot of advertising, did a lot of science, did a lot of brochure drops, did a lot of all the things that you normally do. Did a lot of telephoning, but the truth is that it just didn't have the ground game that we needed. It didn't have. The air war didn't stick. There was no relationship with the media. It was really a tricky campaign. And the result was we got absolutely destroyed.
So, okay, we can talk about the lessons of why you lost, although I think you've indicated already in some of this, the analysis of, what that looked like. What was the coolest, most interesting thing you did, or the thing you did for the first time that you've been wanting to do that you did on this campaign? It could be about people. It could be a campaign tactic. It could be as simple as how you structured things. What's something that you got to do new this time, or novel this time?
Novel's a bit of a stretch, but there was we did what I called 250 meetings in 50 days, right? So the goal was 5 meetings a day instead of door knocking, because in for example, Corey's running in Confederation. It is conceivable for him to door knock the entire riding, in a period of time.
Sorry, did you say conceivable or inconceivable? Conceivable with volunteers.
It's conceivable.
Yeah.
With volunteers, yeah.
Right.
It's reasonable size. The city of Vancouver has a citywide system, so there is no way that we were going to be able to door knock some 600,000 homes. Like, it was just not going to happen. I think it's actually more like 400,000 homes.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say.
the point is made. We simply could not door knock that number of doors, especially when half of them are in towers. So we did this 250 meetings in 50 days. It went fairly well, but in the end, we were meeting with people who didn't have a high enough give a fuck factor to really vote for us. So they were happy to take the meetings, but not happy to vote for us.
I'm very intrigued by this, because for 2 reasons. The second I'll introduce in a moment that might have a tie into the ground game of campaigns across this country in this federal election. But the first part of it was, how did you set up these meetings? Were they of like influencer groups or people that could bring in voters? Were they just random meetings? Who was attending? And is this a political tactic you'd replicate? I'm curious about the nuts and bolts of it, Carter.
Yeah, I mean, so we met with Chinese benevolent groups. We met with Jewish groups. We met with regular people in their living rooms. We met with every group that had a meeting hall. We were at their meeting hall at some point. Every meeting that we did, we wanted it to be specific to our campaign.
Did you set these meetings up on your own, or was this attending events and already existing or was this for the specific? Wow, so
on our own.
250 of those in 50 days on behalf of the two candidates on your ballot.
Right, and the two candidates attended every meeting. Ken Sim, the mayor, attended probably 80% of them. His commitment was phenomenal. So he went to as many meetings as he could. We had meetings as small as 5 or 10 people and as large as several hundred people. And it was basically meet and greets where the two outcomes were to raise a little bit of money and to get people to get their friends out to vote. And the events themselves were successful, but the getting people out to vote was not successful.
When you say... go ahead, Corey. I've got clarifying questions for Carter, too, but jump in.
The operation was a success, but the patient died kind of energy there, right? Like, I'm curious, who showed up, and were they already on your side? Were they undecideds? Were they opposed? Like, I get why people would go to a meeting if the mayor is going to be there, too. I'll say, but
that's kind of
that's why they showed up. Or
I was wondering that.
I think actually that was the flaw in the plan. I think people went to go and see the mayor,
yes,
and they didn't go to facilitate any votes for us. They weren't motivated by the by-election. They were motivated by seeing and meeting the mayor. And the mayor is, he's a Chinese mayor. He's very popular in the Chinese community. He had the South Asian community is very popular in the South Asian community. But we saw very low turnout from those two communities in the actual by-election.
Were either of your candidates from those communities?
Neither of the candidates. We had three, between me and the two candidates, we were indistinguishable. Absolutely indistinguishable.
Lord.
I actually was mistaken for Jamie Stein, one of our candidates, 2 times. It was not good. But
okay,
yeah, that was, it was success. It was a successful operation, but it was not successful in the way that we'd want it to go.
Yeah. And I'll let you explain to me in greater detail, like where the biggest fail points were. But I have a second part to this meeting question, which is you talked about Vancouver being inaccessible with half a million homes being in towers. But was any part of this strategy for you, Carter, the meeting strategy, coming from the place that you've maybe lost a bit of faith on door-to-door direct contact?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, we just couldn't even begin to understand where we would go with the door-to-door direct contact. It was a by-election. It was really short timelines. We weren't going to be in a position where door-to-door was going to be able to work. I'm not sure how Corey's finding door-to-door, but in the worst case scenario, it's 1 in 20 houses that opens the door, and you're getting maybe 1 in 2 of those to commit to you. Also, there's a very real possibility of people just telling you that they're going to support you to your face and then not supporting you afterwards, which is part of what I ran into in Surrey. Right? If everybody who told us they were going to vote for us voted for us, we would have won in a landslide. And the same with Mike DeYoung. Mike DeYoung in the BC Liberal race, we had tons of identified vote, and we got them out. They just chose to vote for someone else. So door knocking and direct contact has its pitfalls.
It does. It's interesting. I'm certainly getting more than 1 in 20 people at the doors, but one of the things you notice is there. I feel, at least, I'm curious your thoughts on this. With so many people having even Ring doorbells these days,
Oh yeah.
If they see who's coming and they don't want to talk to you, they just won't come to the door. And so the doors feel better than they would have felt in elections past, simply because people select not to have the conversation at certain points, right?
Yeah.
I still think there's a big place for them. And, there are ways to test that commitment, including asking them for things like taking a sign if that's the election you're doing. I think those are important things still. But there's no question the nature of doors is changing. The nature of conversations is changing. And I think that's something that campaigns are going to have to grapple with for the next bit. In some ways, Vancouver might be a little bit ahead on that curve simply because of the nature of it being a lot of condo towers.
Density and all that sort of stuff. Carter, did this campaign introduce anything on the voter contact side for you that was either emulated or directly taken from some of those advances in like what door knocking looked like or the change in philosophies? And I'm thinking of stuff like deep canvassing and other things where you do spend a long time chatting with people. Even in these meetings, would you classify them as being meetings of depth and kind of substance, or were they directly to the ask? I'm kind of curious, like if one type of meeting, despite the fail of the campaign, one type of meeting unearthed a different type of result, sort of thing. Because I find that fascinating. Just as
well, I'll tell you. I mean, I think the meetings thing was a heck of a lot more deep canvas like than it was just a simple turn and burn.
In a good way or not in not so productive way, you think?
In a very productive way. I mean, most of the time we were leaving with people on side. But, they weren't necessarily, I mean, they might have just been on side because the mayor was there. But at the end of the day, we weren't going to be deep canvassing the number of people that showed up to those meetings, right? Yeah. Those meetings were infinitely more productive than door knocking would have been. Our opposition did some door knocking, but most of the campaign was conducted with media relations, social media, and advertising.
Yeah, well, so that's, I guess, the obvious question. What did the other guys do? Maybe they were always destined to win for other conditions, but what kind of tactics did you see the winning campaigns use?
Well, let's be clear, there were three campaigns that could have won, right? The Greens could have won, the One City could have won, well, did win, and Cope could have won and did win. Sean Orr ran.
Two people got seats, and they were both progressive parties. Is that correct, Carter?
Yeah, one is a declared communist, so he won. He's the guy with Cope. He's an interesting cat. Little personality pieces that we're not going to get into, lest I get sued. But the Greens didn't run a campaign at all. Like the Greens didn't mount a campaign at all. Like we saw, I believe, one green sign throughout the course of the election campaign. One City did do some signage, and they did do some posters and things. But Cope actually put up the most. They plaster posters on these poles, telephone poles or lighting poles. They have these big round cylinders that they post posters on. Cope
can I ask
you
before you go further? It's a citywide race for 2 seats. A list of like 15 people that were like on the ballot. Am I right? Like around that. What's a spending limit? What's a spending limit for that? I'm curious if you're running a 500,000 persons. Like what do you get to play with?
You get $120,415 per candidate.
Ooh, that's not a lot.
No, it's bullshit, is what it is. It's absolute fucking bullshit. It makes me so angry. Why are we only getting 17% voter turnout? Well, I'll tell you why. Because you won't let us fucking communicate with people. You won't let us actually advertise to people. I couldn't buy radio. I couldn't buy television. I couldn't buy, getting a brochure out was a fucking nightmare. And then they're shocked. Shocked, I tell you. We only got 17% of the population out to vote. Well, I can't believe 17% of it fucking knew that there was an actual by-election. It is bullshit. They gave the electoral office $2 million to plan the by-election, and they give the candidates $120,000 per. And Cope and One City only ran one candidate. They could only spend $120,000. And they kicked our ass. We could spend $240,000.
I'm not feeling a lot of accountability from you right now, Stephen.
Yeah, and by the way,
I'm not going to lie to you. I think that there's some campaigns that I've run that I could have run better, right? And we could have won. I think that if the three of us were running this campaign together with Jesus Christ himself, we wouldn't have been able to pull this campaign off. It was not ours to win. It was just not ours to win.
It's a good rant.
So what did we learn? What's your big takeaway from this campaign? What are you gonna pull forward?
Before you answer,
how are you going to be a better you?
Yeah, before you jump in, Carter, I just want to talk to Colin directly. Stephen Carter is a different person than Corey Hogan. Okay, Corey is a great candidate. Stephen is great at what he does. Okay, but I just want you to know, Colin, I know you're listening. I hope you're enjoying it. We should gift Colin a free Patreon. Do you think we could do that, Corey?
We probably should.
Yeah, we probably should.
We can.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Does that feel like you're bribing the guy who greenlit you?
Yeah, Corey, does that feel like...
I don't know if I don't know how the process works exactly. He interviewed me. I'm sure
Corey's green lat. He was
stuff.
green lat.
Green lat.
Yeah.
It's post tense now.
That's post tense. It's green lat.
Yeah.
I just want to let Colin know that because he's probably like, well, okay. Well, what, did I make a mistake? No, you didn't. You're fine. Everything's good. Everything's good. We could just chill. We could totally chill. Everything is fine.
Thanks. Zane.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate that. Yep.
We should also send him a free ticket to paint the town red. Paint
Confed red. Thanks. Yeah.
Hey, is Paint the Town Red.ca available? We should find out. You should probably get it too, because I might name the fundraiser
okay.
that.
Oh, good. Great. Thank you.
Hey, Carter.
Thank you. You're really helpful.
Okay. You were predestined to lose. I get that. You did some interesting, cool stuff. What I'm usually interested in these campaigns is not necessarily what the other side did to beat you, but what you think your side could have done better to get the gains, to maximize the gains you could have had. Not to win, but to maximize. So optimization of certain things. Where do you think that was at? You don't have to throw people under the bus. You could also talk about yourself, but talk to me about optimization. I'm really curious about that.
I think our media relations was really poor, and I'll own that one. I didn't think
in hindsight, was it just a pure media air war campaign? Could you have skipped out on most of the ground, you think?
I think that we could have done, well, I mean, basically we did. I mean, we put up signs using the reverse, the no, what was it, the opt-out clause, the negative billing option. That's how we did our
I read about it in
signs.
the paper, yeah. No,
That worked out really well. We ran this more like an air war than it was a ground game. But honestly, when you look at how the vote turned out and where the vote came from, the visible minority population was not engaged. I bought a lot of ethnic ads, but I think we could have done a lot more ethnic media, a lot more ethnic interviews. And, that was probably one of the areas that we dropped the ball, as well as just general media interviews. Like, we didn't go on CKNW, I don't think once, which is their big QR770 style or, talk radio station. Why? Well, because we were avoiding talking about issues that may have been challenging to us, and instead of going on and trying to control the narrative. So that avoidance created real problems, I think, for us as a campaign. But again, I don't think it would have changed the outcome, but it might have changed the way that we are perceived within the market. And the market at this stage perceives ABC Vancouver as really the fourth place, almost fifth place party. Well, I guess it was the fifth place party.
Well, so that was one of my questions that was coming. Like, what do you think are the long-term consequences of this by-election for ABC?
Well, I'll tell you what I was telling them at the beginning. This is the beginning of their election campaign in 2026. If you win both seats, then you're well on track to winning and holding on to the city council. If you lose both seats, then you've got a hill to climb. And not only did we lose the seats, we lost them badly. So, we beat the independents that were in hundreds of vote category. We got 8,000 votes. The winners got 31,000 votes, 33,000 votes. We weren't within striking distance. So if you're,
did you
now,
know that? Did you know that though, Carter? Or was it kind of a surprise to you when you found out on election night?
I don't believe the word surprised has left my mouth. We there's certain things that
But
tell you where you are.
Yeah. Like what? Like what were the indicators of the fact that this was not going to like a miracle would have been required to get one of the top 2 spots?
Well, I think that we can relate it a little bit to Corey's campaign. When you get volunteer engagement and you get money coming in through the door, then you are running a good campaign. You need both of those things to really say that the campaign is resonating with Gen Pop. We didn't have volunteer engagement, and we had money. We had money, but we had money because we're the government, not because we were running a spectacular
You
campaign.
couldn't do. I mean, out beyond the 250, what were you going to do, anyways? Too right? Like you.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, we raised as much as we spent.
Yeah.
Right. Good for us.
Great.
Isn't that wonderful? But this really could have been a catalyst for starting to raise money for 2026, and some could argue should have been. I don't think that Corey's going to turn off the taps when he reaches his max spend in Confederation. You raise money when you can raise money, and elections are when you can raise money. It enables the spending in your constituency or in your party for the next few, because you need an executive director, you need a comms person for your party. You pay them out of the money that you have surplus because in your campaign. You can't raise money now, right? Like it's super hard. I mean, it's super hard to raise money. I don't know if you're aware, Zain, but there's a federal election. And it's dragging money out of the municipal markets.
That's why I'm getting my Calgary Party gear ready. I'm ready.
I'll tell you, Calgary Party's had a good week too. I'm not going to talk about it, but
Calgary Party, given some of the separatist talk, right on the money. I like it.
Yeah,
It's good.
well,
it's good. I want Calgary to separate from Alberta when Alberta separates from Canada.
Oh my lord!
These are the things I believe,
well,
and I'll
I
be
missed
sharing.
this
And I'll be
thread,
sharing with everyone
You'll
on
be
stage.
sharing on stage. Okay, yeah. As a guest of the campaign, that's wonderful.
At
Thank you so much.
paidconfedred.ca. You can hear more of my theories. My theories will be available.
Oh, look at the time. We done.
Why are you even here? Why are you?
I don't know. I got nowhere else to
Do
go.
you feel like we held him accountable enough? Carter, where did you fuck up the most? Let's get back to it. Where did you?
Yeah, let's get.
Okay,
let's get to you.
media relations. Is there any regret for taking the gig? Is there any regret for divine? Where do you kind of feel like, fuck, I learned something? I'm good at what I do, but I learned something. Where did I fuck up the most?
Well, I think the biggest fuck up was not being able to come up with anything that would change the channel when we needed to change the channel, and not being able to really jumpstart us into something spectacular. I think that we weren't able to come up with a great slogan. We weren't or theme to the campaign, because I don't like slogans. But we didn't have a theme to the campaign. We didn't have, we were stuck in. We've done, these are all the great things we've done in the past, except no one believes them. No one believes that all these great things were done by ABC. And I wasn't able to come up with something that was better. So we weren't able to communicate the potential of ABC. And I think that was really the biggest failing. Forget about what you've done in the past, but what's the potential? What are you going to get if you vote us back in? What are you going to get then? And that, to me, was a great failing, because I think that people are, as you may be aware, I think that people are relatively selfish, and their vote needs to be about what's in the future. So that, to me, is the problem.
Okay, Corey, I'll let you ask one more question to Stephen Carter, and then I think I need you to leave. This is like the game quiz show where you put on your headphones and you get the fuck out. And then and Carter and I can talk about what people actually want at the 34-minute
mark. You can actually talk about federal politics.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to let him go? We're not going to make his life miserable?
No, you're going to do that later.
He came here to use the podcast to sell his fundraiser, which he's roped us into.
I basically wanted to be platformed.
Oh, my God.
It was... Let's not discount the fact I also got to hear Stephen talk about losing a campaign.
Oh, that's true. That was probably very joyful. Yes,
that's true.
There were two things. Yeah,
my new show is available at whateverthis.ch. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
Let's get all the plugs out there. Any other plugs, Carter? You got anything you want to plug?
I'm a loser, baby.
That was a great song by Beck back in the day.
I know.
You can listen to it well, you're paintconfedred.ca. I almost said painting Confed but then I'll
You
have
probably
to
have to. You know, I think
Sure,
you're gonna
where
have
we
to.
can see.
Fuck,
The-
paint Confed.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do.
Turn Confed red. Where did paint come from? Turn Confed red is the domain. Oh my God, now I gotta get another. Shit. Okay, well, now I gotta paint Confed red.
Hey, Carter.
God damn it.
Carter. This audio is going to be referred to if Corey loses.
Oh yeah, this is the
This
whole.
audio.
When did this happen? At 34
All
minutes mark on episode 1859 is when it all
Okay.
fell apart.
Paint.
Do you know what, Zain? I have no more questions.
PaintTurnConfedred.ca.
Yeah.
It's
okay,
where you can find.
Good.
Okay, do you
Thank
actually want to give people the real? Because you actually made an earnest plea, and I don't want to undercut that because you told me explicitly not to. But then you fucked up the domain name.
And then
That's
I did
on
it.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I'll just say, if you do one thing, do this thing. We can do this thing. We can do this. We work together. We win. And with that, da.
Later, Hogan. Okay, Carter, he's gone. So, man, so many things. Let's boil it down in this way. 2 topics, 15 minutes. Okay.
Sure.
Topic number 1: Carney is coming to Calgary. Polyev is, as we speak tonight, packing anywhere between 10 to 15,000 people in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Let's start there. The events don't seem to be a rebuttal for the polls, but man, are they still fucking impressive, and they're growing. So tell me what's happening. Like, is this entering a wave beyond politics that's not going to have a political impact, that people are just going to go see the act? Like, Pierre's in town and we got to go see the best of? Is this related to the politics and we're going to be surprised? Like, what is your years of experience, strategist, gut sense telling you that these two things are divorced, that this guy's just happens to be running for prime minister while putting on rock concerts across the country, and it's not going to have impact on his polling, or that A and B definitely converge at some point and overlap?
I think that these events are not replacements for polling, right? I think that polling does something completely different. But let's be very clear about the number of people who have a super high give a fuck factor. There is a huge group of people for whom the give a fuck factor is really high, and they're going to those rallies, they're going to those events, and they're hearing from Pierre Poilievre because that's what they want to do. That's what they're finding entertaining right now. Going to these events has now become, part of the conservative experience. But I think that it's 2% of the population, right? They were going to vote conservative anyways. It's not like it's changing anybody's mind because the event, how many concerts are held in the city of Calgary that you and I don't know anything about, right? That fills
and
the
they can
Saddle
bring
Dome. You'll be
20,000
driving-
people.
Yeah, and it's like 20,000 people, and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Who the fuck is Jelly Roll? That's still a question I have.
It's still a question. I didn't even know it was a question. This is these events are drawing the hardcore, and there are a lot of hardcore. But Mark Carney's event, in one day, is going to draw, 2,500 to 3,000 people in a day.
Yeah.
So, how long has it been advertised? How long, how much effort are they putting into it? I never liked big events in politics because I find that big events in politics don't actually generate new votes. They take a lot of time to implement and execute, but they don't find any new votes. They only find the old, pre-existing 100% already with you voters.
In the dynamics of this race, could we look back and say Pierre was a genius to have these massive events to ensure his base remained as sticky as possible, because that liberal vote didn't necessarily go to the conservatives, but it was just soft and didn't show up in the way that the polling indicated? Is there wisdom in the strategy to make your vote as hardened, where Pierre might be reaching a new conservative ceiling in his vote? This is a pretty high number for Pierre in terms of where the CPC are currently polling. Usually they hover around in the low to mid 30s. He's hitting 38, 39s on the national averages. So could you just say, well, listen, we may not be able to compete with the Liberals right now, but if we make sure our vote is super hard and bank on theirs being just a bit soft, election's ours? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Is that
there's
like
something to
wishful
be
thinking? Like I'm not hearing this from conservatives in my circles, to be honest. But I'm just kind of reacting to what you're suggesting here and saying like, could this be a theory that might have some wisdom behind it?
I don't know. How's that for a shitty answer? I just don't know. I think that there's I think you're hardening the wrong group. I think if you're going to make something hard, you start at the base and you work your way all the way to the tip. And if you can work
Jesus
from
Christ,
the base
Carter.
to the tip.
Okay, Thank you, Carter. Thank you.
But right now, Poilievre's only working the base. And you're just not going to get there. You're not going to get to the end result if you just work the base.
Does this count as the same podcast that Corey was on earlier?
Oh, totally.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just want this mention to be the same one where paint, is it turn or paint?
Paint.
I don't know.
Turn Confed red.
I think you
It
guys
was
need
paint
to change
and then it became turn. It's turn Confed red.
Okay.
No, I don't think it is. Paint Confed red sounds better.
I agree, and I don't know which one it is either. It's fine. Just as long as your phallic analogy.
If he doesn't win and it comes back to this podcast, we're gonna have some guilt issues. I mean, not a lot because we don't care that much.
I don't know.
Some.
Well, he can record a nice, solid, clean bumper. Let him do that.
Why would we let him do that? He's probably in bed already.
That's true. Lazy candidate. Carter. I've said this is the most important week for the Conservatives. The stock market is tumbling like a motherfucker. Friday was worse than today, and we record here today on a Monday. There seems to be no shifting off of the Trump question, although they're trying. They're putting out ads that are going after the Trump question. They seem to have some targeted spots, including one where Pierre is driving this Corvette around a racetrack with his wife, which has its own vibe, and you could see the message in terms of who it's for. What sort of shift, if you were in the Conservative war room or if you were Team Jenny Byrne, would you be looking for this week? Like we're all kind of talking about this is the make or break week, but I don't think people understand what are practitioners actually looking for, right? What are practitioners actually looking for in momentum change and in a turnaround style week? Because it could be less or more than what Gen Pop thinks needs to happen in order for something to be a turnaround. So this is what I kind of wanted to spend the final few minutes here, which is if we're on this campaign, what are we looking for this week?
Well, you know what? To be honest, I think that they might even be looking for something as simple as, did you see that shitty ad that Pierre Poilievre did? That at least would be a talking point that puts Pierre Poilievre in the front of people's minds. Right now, like in 2010, and I've told this story so many times, but in 2010 it was always, have you heard of this Nenshi guy? That's what we wanted to see. That's what we wanted to hear. What Pierre Poilievre needs is that someone at some point actually says, what do you think of Pierre Poilievre? What are you thinking about Pierre Poilievre? What he's getting so far is, have you heard of that Mark Carney guy? Are you watching that Mark Carney campaign? Have you seen how much Mark Carney's numbers have changed? And Pierre Poilievre is, desperate with the events. He's, maybe he can get somewhere with this. I think it's a tragic ad, but I don't imagine that I'm part of the target audience. But, and everybody that seems to have seen it seems to be make it an issue, right?
Which one is this? Is this the change is coming down the track, the speed,
down
like
the track,
Corvette ad?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Corvette ad? Yeah.
I don't understand that ad at all. Do you get it?
Yeah, I do, I think. He looks good. He looks manly. He looks like he's got a really cool wife. There's a level of 30, 40, 50-year-old dude being like, that guy's kind of my vibe. I'm not sure if it's purely like aspirational, like I wish he had what he had, but it's kind of, I get it. It doesn't have and it's also like it's political messages.
Does he need to solidify men? Like the gender gap is already massive.
Okay, so you know what? I think he might.
You're kind of come back to hardening again.
I think he might. I think he's in this situation right now where there's
He
two
can't
ways.
win
So
if he hardens.
Okay, so then let me ask. Okay, let
He
me
can't
ask.
win if he makes it so hard that no one else can join in. Right? It has to be hard enough.
I'm letting you go at this one alone, which you'd be very used to.
Oh yeah, I mean, if it's super hard, you're going at it alone. It's no problem. But he wants to have others join in.
Okay,
and when you want to have others join in, sometimes having it super hard is a little intimidating.
Is it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Carter, keeping you on track. Here we go. By the way, change is coming down the track, I should mention. Listen, okay. This is similar though. If you take that ad though and you don't understand it, and my theory to you is that this is to pretty much solidify the group of men, because I honestly, both on the surface and thinking it through a bit, do not see an audience beyond that, right? Dudes, like just dudes. But then you also look at another act that they took today, which is Stephen Harper coming out of retirement, which might sound like a casual thing. It is not. He has not done anything for the past two candidates, recorded a video for one, showing up and introducing Pierre at a rally today. You could look at that as a offensive move or a defensive move. And my default is to look at that as a defensive move, which
Absolutely.
is they needed Harper, right? Every time you see a big name come out in campaign, and we're used to this in the American context, I always think of that as defensive posture, right? Like you couldn't get the job done on the surrogate sort of intro or the surrogate sort of rally, to me, is always on a defensive posture. So to me, I think this is a group that Pierre's strategy this next little while may have been, I'm going to pivot a little. I'm going to harden my group and my base, make sure they're as engaged, that voting is something that they are looking forward to do, and they do. And then maybe I rely upon the gods a bit alongside some of my negative, that Carney's vote isn't as soft as the mid 40s he's getting in certain polls. And then there's our race. Like it's a working theory. I'm not sure it's a successful one.
No, I mean, if you're playing defense and you're behind, you're really fucked, right? You need to be playing offense when you're behind. And right now, the only
Have you
offense
seen any new negative from him? Have you seen any new negative from him that is, maybe it's completely hidden from like the YouTube universe, but that being said, YouTube is taken away from these folks, right? Like no partisan paid content on YouTube, because that would probably be the fastest, quickest turnaround way to get stuff out, is paying stuff on YouTube. So they might be using Meta. I can't find anything that's new that's attacking Carney in a unique way beyond the list of things they've had going for the last number of weeks. So I'm not sure what their offensive game is right now.
I don't think they have one,
and they can't rely on the NDP. The NDP are trying to go negative on Carney to fight for their own survival, but I don't think you can rely and boost the NDP content to kind of be the marker that takes Carney down.
What if they're just waiting for the debates? What if
you tell me? You think that's a serviceable strategy right now? Like you think you tell Pierre being like, do a bit of a pivot, try a few things out. We're gonna have to take him down with one viral moment at the debate.
That's essentially what I would be doing. And it doesn't have to be one viral moment. I think that he can just dominate the debate. I think that he can be a super strong candidate and try and push it that way.
Yeah.
Pierre Poilievre has not been tested with a real debate at the federal level, even though we all, quote unquote, know him so well.
So Carter, the final thing I want to talk to you about, and it's creeping up. It's not like at like a 10 on the volume scale, because if it was, it'd be its own crisis that I think the Conservatives could take advantage of. But it's liberal arrogance. It's like liberals on panel shows measuring the drapes, kind of like how Poilievre folks have been doing for the last 18 months.
Oh, yeah.
It's the comments that this thing is over, et cetera, et cetera. Beyond the obvious, do you feel like that is a potential like strategic thing that could be hit upon right now, that the Liberals getting overconfident, or is that like a meta inside the bubble, inside an Ottawa sort of thing? Or do you think liberal arrogance in this moment in time has any play or mileage? And could you, as a strategist working for the Conservatives, mold something there from that, or not so much in your mind?
Liberal arrogance is the Achilles heel of the Liberal Party, and it is always there. It will always be there to be taken advantage of. And if Pierre Poilievre wants to take advantage of it, he can. The problem is that Pierre Poilievre comes across as such an arrogant ass that it's harder to make a case of, liberal arrogance when he's coming across as an arrogant asshole.
He's not the right messenger.
He's the wrong messenger for that message. Pierre,
Could Jagmeet reasonably take that line on? What's his if there's a there, why can't Jagmeet carry that particular argument?
Because Jagmeet is also the wrong he's also the wrong messenger, Zain. I mean, you're looking at two campaigns that have the wrong messenger at the wrong time. Pierre Poilievre is just the wrong guy to be up against a Trump wave and Mark Carney at this particular moment in time. And Jagmeet Singh is probably 3 years past his best before date.
We're going to leave it there, Carter. That's a wrap on episode 1859 of The Strategist. My name is Zain Velji. With me, as always, Stephen Carter, and the, what would you call them? Sponsored content? The branded content?
Paint, turn, make.
The partisan content of Corey Hogan. And we shall see you next time.